Before we get into midweek matters, we've got some exciting news, don't we, Charlie?
We certainly do. Brand new podcast from the Buy Around family, up front with Millie Boyle and Keely Davis.
Yeah, they're talking all things NRLW. That's a podcast dropping every single week. The first one is out now.
Yep, there's some cracking stories in it. They recorded early today. And, I mean, they're very funny girls and they've got such good chemistry.
Yeah,
so they just bounce off each other. There's a great story about Norwich and Bar tab gone wrong. Also, they roast each other basically at the start for like the first 10 minutes. That was my favourite part of the show.
Yeah, me too. And this is going to be coming out every single
Wednesday. Wednesday sort of around lunchtime each week.
Up until the end of the NRLW. So two great personalities talking all things NRLW. Can't wait for our listeners to check that out.
Yeah.
Stay tuned and make sure you like, subscribe, and you can get it anywhere you get your podcasts, and also available on YouTube as well.
Yep, YouTube. We're actually going to put on the Buy on YouTube channel. So if you watch this on YouTube, it's just going to go there. But yeah, if not, just search up front with Millie Boyle and Keely Davis, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. I'm James Graham. I'm joined by Charlie White.
How are you, Jimmy? You well?
I'm great, thanks, mate. More importantly, how are you?
I'm going good, mate. I'm going really good. I see you got a Tetley's tea there. Keep you nice and relaxed. Life's good. I mean, no complaints, really.
No, good. I didn't expect you to have any complaints. You look very fresh.
Yeah, I feel fresh. I feel happy.
You have a week off?
Did I have a week off?
Yep.
When did I have a week off?
Because you're a little Sydney it girl.
I've got no idea what you're talking about now. What was that?
You took like 4 days off for your birthday. What were you, 28?
20. I did have 4 days off. What did I do?
You did. You had a load of days off for your birthday because you think you're a Sydney it girl. That is absolutely feral behaviour. I couldn't believe it last week when like... Why are you swapping shifts? Why are you doing? Oh, it's my birthday. Like, what are you?
Yeah, no,
who are you?
Well, I've got to remember what shift I swapped. So Sunday I swapped it, and I'm very glad I did because ended up going out Saturday night and was to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah. You went out like 3-4 nights in a row.
Friday, I can't remember what I did on Friday. But I think I played golf. I think I swapped it to play golf
for your birthday.
My birthday. And then Friday night I had dinner. Saturday night I went out. And then Sunday, to be honest, my girlfriend asked me to take Sunday off because she had Sunday off and sort of lined it all up nicely. But I was very hungover, so I wouldn't have been in a good state to work anyway.
It's just, it's not about you being hungover or not. It's just the fact that you're taking time off for your birthday at the age of 28.
Does the weekend count as taking time off? Because really,
yes.
you should have everyone should have the weekend off.
No, they shouldn't.
Well, why shouldn't
Why shouldn't it? Because life goes on. The world keeps spinning.
Two things. No one works Fridays anymore. People have stopped working Fridays since COVID started. Every single person takes Fridays off.
The working week
is
a social construct, Charlie. I'll have you know. Like, it's just invented.
It is invented.
And you have, we still people need to work, but you... personally, Charlie, you've went down in my estimation that you took 3 days off.
I didn't take 3 days off to say. Friday is also, you've got to, Jimmy, you're a man who takes opportunities when they come. I think you've said that before on the podcast. Friday, the company I work at has an annual leave policy where you get your birthday off. So why aren't you going to take it? Why aren't you going to take it if it's there? It's there for you.
Well, here at the buy round, it's going to be compulsory work day.
But there was no buy round stuff to do on my birthday.
Well, you've got to come in anyway.
Yeah, well, I won't be coming in.
And even we're gonna make people work on Jesus' birthday as well. So Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, okay.
Mate,
Not Easter.
Christmas Day.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't.
You don't know when Jesus was born?
I thought that was Easter. Well, what's Easter then? Isn't Easter?
It's when he died.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, probably in hindsight, upon reflection, I maybe took too many days off my birthday. Milked the birthday a little bit. Yeah. But none of them are all of them are my choices. Some people force them upon me.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a 28-year-old.
When's your birthday?
In September.
September, okay.
I won't be taking any time off.
I'll be making sure of that.
I don't people
Saturday is my day off anyway. I don't work on Saturday, so I didn't take that off for my birthday.
It is a bit like. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I know
don't
what you're saying,
You
I
know what I'm
do.
saying?
I do.
No.
I didn't realise it. This has caught me off guard as well. I wasn't expecting this coming in.
Good.
Because you did on Sunday. You messaged me going like asking questions about it. And I didn't. I was like, why is he asking me why I'm off? Let me be off. But yeah, there's not much really I can say about
No.
it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, one of our listeners, what was the listener that got in touch about Rock-Busters?
Oh, that's Brad Sewell. I think
Yeah,
you say
so-
so. He's a great man.
Gave us a bit of an idea. For those of you that follow the show, you know the Carl Pilkington, Ricky Gervais, and Stephen Merchant podcast, but mainly the XFM days of them starting out on their radio journey and rise to fame. They had a segment of the show called Rock-Busters.
Great segment.
Where Carl Pilkington would give a cryptic clue about a artist or a band, and
Ricky and Steve.
Ricky and Steve would try and
It would
guess.
rarely make sense though, would it?
Yeah, it would really make sense. So some of our fans have got in touch and said maybe do one for NRL players. So
Yeah.
I think
Brad had some good ones.
Brad had some great ones.
Yeah.
So Brad takes the cake, but I've come up for one for you, Charlie. So I want to see if you can. I'll give it to you now,
Yeah, give it to me now.
and then see by the end of the show if you can get it.
Okay.
That part of my foot has been stung by an animal, but I'll get plenty of action.
That part of my foot has been stung by an animal, but I'll get plenty of action. It's not Brad Parker, is it? That part of my foot.
That part
Of my foot has
has been stung by an animal, but I'll get plenty of action.
And so it's a current player?
It is a current player, correct?
I'm just going to write this down so I can keep glancing at it as the show goes on.
Yeah, so you're really concentrating.
That part of my foot.
Do you want the initials?
That might give it away. Will that give it away?
No initials. All right,
Okay.
no initials.
Has been stung by an animal, but I'll get plenty of action anyway. That's going to be tough anyway. I'm not very good at these sorts of things. This is a poor start to the show for me, but anyway, let's do this.
How do you feel, Jimmy? Let's find out. Thanks to Tui's.
And Jimmy, it was kind of hard to sort of think where we wanted to do the start of the show today, all thanks to Tui's. How do you feel? I feel like a Tui's or two. But I think it makes sense focusing on Origin. Game 3 next week on Wednesday. Brad Fittler, all the talk has become about his future, about his selection decisions. And there's a lot of criticism coming his way.
Oh, I think it's justified. So I think after game 2 was probably jumped into that, Freddie can't stay. But then I thought, he probably is still the best man for the job. He's been there a long time. He does appeal to the community. He just needs, a few tweaks here and there to get New South Wales back, not just being competitive, but winning games. I don't think they were that far off in game 1. Game 2, they didn't look anything like, or didn't look to me like they were going to win that game. And then the selections for game 3, there's just so many question marks about players who are there, about players who aren't there. Like, what is he trying to do? And so I think ones that spring to mind are Bradman Best, Cody Walker.
I think I can sort of see where he's thinking.
Gutherson,
Yeah.
on the bench as well as Robson.
I can sort of see where he's coming from some of those. Like Cody Walker is one of the best playmakers in the game. He's tried his last 5 years. He probably leads almost every single year.
Definitely.
And what's been wrong in the series? Game 1, the forwards matched it. They just couldn't ice those positions they got themselves in. Game 2, they had so much opportunity in that first half inside their Queensland's 20-metre line. Just didn't look like scoring. So he's brought attacking players in. Bradman Best is a player you can give the ball close to the line and he can make things happen out of nothing. Sometimes he gets a pretty average ball given to him at Newcastle and he just can try and barge over. Maybe that's what they're thinking with him. I don't know.
I'm not discounting the fact that these are two very good players, but they're playing in a dead rubber game. So why wouldn't you give the 5'8" jersey to a guy that seemed like he was next in line.
Because there's no such thing as a dead rubber, though, really, in Origin.
Well, there is.
Well, no, you still want to win. You still want to win the game.
Of course you want to win the game.
It's a sellout as well. It's going to be a sellout. Not a sellout, yeah, but it's tracking to being a sellout. I saw on Daily Telegraph.
Well, that's fine.
So it's the biggest game. So you don't pick people just for the sake of picking them.
No, but it's not just picking people for the sake of picking them.
Well, Cody Walker deserves that. I think he probably should have got the 5'8" spot maybe in game 2 even. Jerome Luai, he hasn't really ever done much in Origin, but then they had to give him game 2 because it would be unfair because Nathan Cleary's injured. That's why Jerome Luai misses out. I think Brad Fittler probably wanted to support him, but I think Cody Walker is going to do an incredible job. For New South Wales.
He will.
Yeah.
But he's 33.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you give it to Nico Hines or Matt Burton? That's more likely to be there.
Well,
next
Matt
year.
Burton, the Bulldogs just lost 66-0. So you can't really put Matt Burton in the halves over.
But why though?
Because he hasn't done it. The Bulldogs are not going well.
Or put Burton in the centres, Hines in the halves.
Yeah, you could put Burton in the
and then
in the centres.
even some of the why play Utoya Kamanu in game 2 for him not to play?
Well, see, I reckon what happened with Utoya Kamanu is maybe why Brad Fittler's chosen Clint Gutherson. Because Utoya Kamanu, they only used him for 12 minutes. So they're like, we've got a lot of big minute forwards. Maybe we don't need it. Maybe we don't need 3 forwards on the bench. Yeah, because Jake will play 80.
I get that. I get that. But really, usually the way every football side sets up their bench, it's 3 forwards and utility / second dummy half / spare outside back, knowing that person may or may not get on. But to go 2 forwards and then a specialist dummy half and a person that covers, centre, fullback,
5'8",
a little bit.
But
I just don't understand that. And then even with the bench, how is Spencer Leniu not in?
I mean, maybe he's worried about his discipline.
He's the perfect bench forward.
But maybe he was worried about his discipline.
Maybe, but I mean...
Because he picked a pretty indisciplined player, whatever you say it, in game 1 with Tevita Pangai Jr. It backfired on him. Spencer Leniu's a firebrand who has got himself sin-bin on a few occasions.
But look what he brings, mate. That game between Penrith and Melbourne last week, he came on and changed the game. And he has that... I think there's a market out there for, in the player pathway department, for instead of trying to produce front rowers, a new specialised position would be a bench forward, where it's actually specialised, and you're not doing the same training or on the same path as the starting front row. For me, Isaiah Yeo and Saifiti coming off the bench, they're just going to bring more of the same, which isn't a bad thing. But then when you've got and what most players do, most teams do at representative level, it's okay, we're just going to bring more of the same. Or other teams have it where the 2 bench props come on and it's not quite the same level of impact as the starters. But with Spencer Leniu, you've got that whole new dynamic, and I just don't understand how he's not playing. Even you talk about players playing well in the centres. Isaac Tango as well. Yeah. There's just, for me...
But a lot of those people, the centre thing, that's a similar level of players. People talk about Tony Staggs, Bradman Best and Tango. They're similar. They're a similar level. You got to pick one of them. I guarantee if they picked another one, everyone would be talking about the other ones that didn't get picked. I reckon the centre position...
I don't think anyone... I like Bradman Best, but I don't think anyone would be like, how's he not got it?
No, they were probably not for Bradman Best, but they would have, if Tango was picked, they would have mentioned Staggs. If Staggs was picked, they would have mentioned Tango. And maybe Best does get a mention. Maybe he does.
Look, I just think, I hope, and I get it. I get there's a high level of player. I get rep football is difficult. You've got to make tough decisions. But I think the very fact that there's been such a public... shock and level of shock sort of speaks to the volumes of just how left field this team is, with no real, it's not glaring about what this team's trying to do, build for the future. like win the game, but you're still experimenting with players that haven't been there before, a la Bradman Best.
Yeah.
Like, why no Hudson Young? Why no Tyson Frizzell?
Well, I mean, Hudson Young wasn't amazing in those first 2 games. Game 1, he only played about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, then got taken off and then didn't get back on the game. I mean, Kaloa Matangi, if he was fit to start the series, he's probably there game 1 if he didn't have the injury at the start of the year. Also, in Brad Fittler's defence, they have lost their halfback, they have lost their hooker, they have lost their best front rower, they have lost their best centres. They've lost. So if Latrell Mitchell, Tom Trbojevic, Api Coruscant, Nathan Cleary, and Payne Haas are all playing, it's a very different team. And that's injuries happen. That's a part of it. I think some of the carry on of the selections is a bit over the top. It's just a little bit over the top because Bradman Best, you can see what he's thinking. He's a dynamic, explosive ball runner. No one looked like scoring for New South Wales in game 2. Why not give someone who can create something out of nothing?
Yeah, look, I mean, you make a good point, but I just think for me this could be the finishing of Fittler in the New South Wales coaching role. Like, I think had he have picked a team that most people would have been on side with, like include the inclusion of Burton, like a Katoni Staggs or a Hines in it at 5'8". I think most people go, "All right, okay, can see what we're doing here," and then regardless of the result on Wednesday evening, Freddie keeps his job, and it's like, "Oh, I can see what we're trying to do." But for me now, I think there's extra pressure on this game on Wednesday because of the selections. Like, there'd always be a 10 out of 10 pressure, but I think it's like, if this doesn't go right, I think the hand's been forced.
Yeah, it possibly has. But also, Brad Fittler's not alone in that coaching environment. When he was, you forget how he was heralded as like the guy who turned New South Wales around a few years ago when he had guys like Craig Fitzgibbon around him and maybe a better level of support staff. I think maybe he is probably best as having that sort of aura about him in the dressing sheds, doing the pumper speeches, and then you got some really good tactical minds alongside him where maybe that's lacking. I mean, I don't know. I've never been there, but you've been coached by Mary. Was Mary like a real tactics guy?
Yeah, he got involved with the tactics, obviously, but he was a real people motivator. Like, he motivated me. I just think at representative level, Charlie, because you don't have that much time, like, tactically, you're not reinventing the wheel. Like, you're not playing the long game. It's just... I agree with you, unless like Matty Johns wants to come in, because like Matty Johns and Joey Johns would be the perfect duo just to turn. Like, Matty's a genius when it comes to rugby league. If you haven't got those two guys putting their hands up, do you make the move to just bring someone else in? I really don't know. Well, even Sam Burgess has been
yeah.
Like,
I don't mind that though. I think Sam Burgess would be pretty good.
Man, I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it. My hope is that New South Wales win, and Freddie keeps his job.
Do you think he does keep? Even if they win, he keeps his job.
I think if he win,
I don't know if winning's going to be enough for him.
I don't know. Well, again, it's that who's the obvious candidate that's better. Like, are you just making change for change's sake? That's why I thought that if you'd have picked a team for Wednesday with an eye on the future, it might have been like, I can see what he's trying to do here. And that could have been his justification to the board of New South Wales to say, this is why I'm doing it. You got to back me, where it seemed a bit, I don't know. Yeah,
one of the glaring things is the two hookers and the utility. You don't see that ever.
No.
Do you?
No. So look, that like originally, like say after Origin 2, I thought he's gone. You've got to make a change, but had some time to rethink that, and then okay, Matty, Joey, reunite, whatever. But I think that's a pipe dream, just because of their attitudes towards it. Like, I think it's one of those, like, the fact that, mind you, they probably wouldn't come out and say they would out of respect, but
yeah, of course, there's this chance they could get them.
Yeah.
You never know, do you? You never know.
you never know.
The other thing about that is, could New South Wales try and pull a Queensland on Queensland this game? There's people online talking about it being the worst New South Wales team ever. Could they go and, without their 5 best players, surprise Queensland?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, if you look at the team on the stacks of talent in there, like you say, Cody Walker, but you just, with that in mind, I don't know how much New South Wales win versus Queensland beat themselves if that happens.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, even in those games against the worst ever Queensland team, I think New South Wales beat themselves.
Yeah, especially that Adelaide game.
Yeah,
they should have won the Adelaide game.
I think as well. I think I got to say this, like the reflection from Origin. I think some of the treatment and talk around James Tedesco has been ridiculous. Like what that fella's done for his state, his country, and for his club side. Like, we're spoilt by James Tedesco. We're spoilt by him. He got a couple of moments wrong, and then talk of whether or not he should be playing. I've felt for him because you go a bit out of form, and like for him to be out of form, read his numbers for this year. He's still trying. He's still putting effort in. But when you're behind the 8 ball, like his team has been for so long, for the Roosters this year, surprisingly, like the opportunities don't arise. And I know in Origin it's going to be the same, but the guy's just out of form. A little bit out of form.
Yeah, because he was Roosters' best player probably against Manly.
Yeah. Like he's a little bit out of form.
New South Wales, he's going to go down as New South Wales' greatest ever fullback as well.
Yeah.
You would think, with his number of appearances.
And I just think some of the talk about him, not being involved in this game, he deserves to be there. Yes, Dylan Edwards is putting a heap of pressure on him, but Teddy's earned this. And I think it looks as if the Roosters won't make the 8 this year. He's going to get a longer layoff. It's still undecided about what Australia will do in terms of, do they have any games, which is insane anyway that we still don't know that. But I think he should forego that if it comes up, have a really long rest, and then watch and see what he does next year. We're going to take a quick break from the podcast to tell you about AG1, the daily foundational nutritional drink with all your needs in the one place. I like to look after my health, and AG1 takes care of that for me. No more tablets, vitamin pills, all the health nutrition I need, all in the one place. Every single morning, it's as easy. Open up the fridge, scoop of AG1 in a glass, cold water, stir it with a fork, drink it. It tastes great, and it helps me know. It gives me the peace of mind that all my nutritional needs are taken care of, all in the one drink. It really is as simple as that. And also, anybody that knows anything about health benefits knows that it comes with adding simple routines to your day. It's not about magic pills. They're not going to work. AG1 helps me be the best version of myself by having this new habit of every single morning having that drink. I know my nutritional bases are covered thanks to AG1. A lot of athletes are now taking AG1, and with 75 high quality ingredients, it's no wonder why. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/buy-round. That's drinkag1.com/buy-round. Check it out.
We're going to get to which club's in the deepest hole, the Tigers, the Dogs, or the Dragons in a little bit, but let's go to the Premiership race. And you say the Roosters are done.
I think they're done. I think the mountain is too high now.
You're going to go to win 6 of 8. It would be.
I don't
to
even
get
think
13 wins.
Yeah, to get 13 wins. Yeah, that for me, 13. Like, I forget looking at the competition ladder. the buys and the points for the buys just throw everyone off. Look at the win-loss ratio, and it's a guarantee playoff football. You need 13 wins. The only exception would be Manly. They could do 12 wins because they've got the draw now.
Right.
So they've got that draw.
Yeah.
So I think that would tip them out.
Should be enough.
Should be enough.
But the Roosters' run home's tough as well. They still got the Broncos. Yeah. They've got the Bunnies in the final round of the season. They've got a couple other. I think they've got Storm in round 21.
It's just become too much. One thing from that Roosters Manly game, in around the 10 minutes to go, Nat Butcher tackles Cherry Evans after he makes a half line break, and we spoke. And earn the right tackle. So I thought Butcher was going to the sin bin. Referee says, words to the effect of, I'm not going to talk about it now, but that's an earn the right tackle. I need someone to explain to me what on earth an earn the right tackle is. Because
Cheese had no idea either. I think when you guys spoke about it, he had no idea. Yeah, it's bizarre. And there's been a lot of odd refereeing things happening this year. The bunker quality seems to be making a little steady decline, it's felt like this year.
Well, it's there to stop the howler and get more decisions right.
Yeah.
Fundamentally get more decisions right. And by that job description, it's not doing its job.
Out of interest, there's 10 teams still in the hunt for these top 8. Would you count the Seagulls in the hunt as well for the top 8? Probably would, wouldn't you? Just. And then beneath them, you'd say they're gone.
Yeah.
Beneath the K. So of those teams, you could almost make a case for all of them to win the comp. Couldn't you?
You could, yeah.
Except for Manly and probably the Titans.
I think, yeah. Let me just bring up,
because you've got the Panthers who sitting at the top there. It's actually just incredible.
The Panthers are insane how good they're playing at the minute. Without Nathan Cleary as well. Like, I thought at the start of the season, most people were like, oh, they're missing Appy. They're missing Kick-Out. It's going to be a middle of the road year, but they're just insane.
They're fairly short premiership favourites now.
And the way they handled that adversity against the Storm, and then bang, they came back. Like, that's frightening.
Because we said last week the Storm Panthers was probably going to be the grand final of this year. And then the Panthers, without their best player, have just decided.
Yeah, I think on current form, I really like Souths, but they need Latrell back. And they need to find a few wins without him.
The win in New Zealand was a big win for them.
Massive.
Yeah.
Mate, what about those conditions? They look terrible. Mate, you could make a case for all those teams. I find it hard to see the Seagulls or the Titans making it, but then there's 9 teams that, the Raiders, secret squirrels, like, just where have they come from?
Mate, they've still got a bye to go as well, so they could easily get into that top 4. And if they get in the top 4, say they win week 1, they've got a home prelim in Canberra.
They're on the same record as the Storm, 10-6.
Yeah,
and they'll be definitely on the same record as the Sharks, who sit in 3rd. So the Sharks are 9-6, which is bizarre that they're above them. So if the Sharks win that game, they go to 10-6, that game in hand. But if they lose, they go 9-7. So the Raiders jump them. So the Raiders, for me, they are in
the top 4. Well and truly, yeah.
Well and truly.
If you just back to the Panthers, it's we haven't spoken about enough all year. I don't think, because of course they were 1-2 after 4 rounds. They had the bye early on, and everyone sort of pretty much wrote them off, didn't they?
And I was one that was like privately questioning, like, oh, I don't know. I think the last 3 years, taking it out of them.
They've barely lost since then. They've barely lost. It's incredible.
It is. It really is, Charlie.
Well, the other end of the table then, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Where your clubs are. James Graham's alumni.
Yeah, you're right. The Bulldogs and the Dragons.
Bulldogs, Dragons, Tigers.
The Tigers, though.
They're in the hunt for the wooden spoon now, those 3 clubs. Tigers have got their hands on it at the moment because they've already had the 3 buys. And they've only got 3 wins. So, which of these clubs is in the biggest hole, do you think? Look,
that's a tough question because, like all three have their upside. And people are going to call me biased, and we're not supposed to have any game on here. But I think the Tigers are the ones that are in the biggest hole.
Is that around a bit of clarity around what their future looks like from a head coach perspective as well?
Well, it's the biggest unknown. So with Serraldo and Gould, you've got like a solid plan, like one of the best operators the game has known for a long, long time. You've got what is known as the best young coach in his first year, and with a 5-year deal, so you know exactly that. What you've got stability there. Now I know boards change and stuff like that, but you've got stability in the coaching ranks and general manager of football, whatever Gus's role is, and you've got quality signings that have missed a lot of football this year, and you've got quality signings for next year as well. The Dragons, again, you've got Flanagan, a proven winner, and you've got a team there with, I think, plenty more to offer. With the Tigers, they were learning how to play with Appy, but it's such a new situation with Benji Marshall coming in. Like, he's not had a team before. He's only been an assistant for 2 years. Like, I love him as a bloke, and I know how passionate and driven he is. But that for me is the one with like the biggest amount of unknown.
Yeah, a lot of their recruits are kind of older as well. Like Appy Coruscant's an older player. David Clemmer's an older player. John Bateman's an older player. They're not guys who are going to be there in 4 or 5 years.
No, probably not.
So
yeah, probably the Tigers would be the one of greatest concern.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. And I think you're probably right. The Dogs probably do have the best upside. Strangely enough, it's felt dark after that 66-0 defeat, and it's felt dark this season because I think a lot of people had you guys maybe making the top 8.
Yeah,
which was I think you had them in the top 8.
I did.
Good tip, and you didn't have the Broncos, did you, in your top 8? Good choice, that one.
Yeah,
mate. Well, let's get to the round preview then, because I suspect you'll tip the Dogs again this week, won't you?
Suspicion. Very suspicious, Charlie. How are you going with that Rock-Busters, by the way?
I haven't had a chance to think about it really because we've been doing this.
We've not really planned that out. Really.
Do you want to give me a clue?
No. Do you want the?
That part of my foot has been stung by an animal, but I'll get plenty of action anyway. Foot, boot, shoe.
That's not part of your foot, though, is it?
That part of my foot. Oh, the toe. Brian Toto?
No.
Oh.
No.
What's all that then? Toe. Brian Toto. What other toe names are there? Do you want to give me the initials?
No.
All right, we'll come back to for now. I think I got close with Brian Toto though. First game of the round then. It's not the greatest round, just we'll be honest about that.
Yeah, this is where all those people that sing from the mountaintop about why we should pause the year or play Origin at a different time or just stand alone. They print out some team sheets and some games for this round and go, this is why. But the show must go on.
Yeah, the first one is not the best. The Tigers, one of the biggest underdogs, I reckon, in NRL history. They're almost $10, Jimmy,
Mate,
on Ladbrokes.
Look, I think that's grossly unfair.
You think they're a chance?
Well, they're more than a $10 chance. Like in a 2-horse race.
I mean, their team isn't that bad. It's their spine. The halves is the concern. Wakeham and Dane Laurie. But like their backline's okay.
Yeah.
Like their wingers and centers, their forward pack's decent. Forward pack's But you'd argue the forward pack's better than Sharks. Stefano Utoikamanu, David Clemmer,
Bateman,
Papali'i, Bateman, and Bole.
Yeah. You make a good point. You have a habit today of making good points. But this is actually my same game multi.
Oh, I love it. Let's hear it.
I've gone all anytime try scorers.
Okay.
Because putting the Sharks in. I'm like, I've gone Ronaldo Mulatalo anytime, Sione Katoa anytime, and Britton Niokora anytime. $5.66.
Okay. It's going to be, you'd imagine it's going to be high points. The Sharks these days put 50 on these sort of bottom 8 teams all the time. So the Sharks for you, obviously, in that one then.
Yeah, but
closer than it says. You'd be taking the line of the Tigers line, wouldn't you?
21.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd gobble that up as well. Dragons Raiders then, Jimmy. Friday night. No Tyrrell Sloan. He's got a calf injury, unfortunately.
No Ben Hunt.
No Ben Hunt. He's playing Origin. And still no Jack Bird as well.
Yeah. Raiders are just in too good a form, unfortunately, for the Dragons.
It's a danger game for the Raiders, though.
It is.
Because the Dragons are going to beat one of these teams running in.
Yeah.
Dragons will get a win that they're not meant to.
They'll get up for a game.
Yeah.
They'll end up getting up for a game. And you don't want to be that team. The same with the Bulldogs will beat someone.
Yep.
Tigers will beat someone. And it'll just be like, you don't want to be that team that looks back and goes, why in round 18, 19, 20, 21 did we lose to them? Like, what were we doing? Where would that 2 points have us now? You know, all the criticism that the Sharks get for not beating enough top 8 teams, they look after this.
Yeah, they do.
They win the games you're supposed to win, but you know someone's going to slip up along the way.
I've got a sneaky feeling it's going to be the Raiders.
Against the Dragons?
Yeah, I've got a sneaky feeling the Dragons at $4 might be worth a dabble. Then Saturday, what is probably the match of the round, the Eels against the Warriors. But unfortunately for the Eels, they've got no Clint Gutherson, no Mitchell Moses, no Regan Campbell-Gillard. The Warriors, Tony was saying before, Sean Johnson's a chance that he might miss it due to the birth of his kid. It's a tough one to see how it goes. The Warriors are the favourites. I think they're deserved favourites, but Parramatta's team still looks pretty strong.
Yeah, it does. But for me, the Warriors have just got to win this game. All things considered, with the players missing for Parramatta, the Warriors got to get back to winning way. It was tough conditions there against Souths. They were hard done by with a sin binning of Adam Fanua-Blake. And if you're Webster, you're doing all you can to get Johnson over.
Yeah, because if they win that game, their run home's pretty good. The last 4 games, I think, are all bottom 8 teams. So if they can win this game, it'll be a big win.
Yeah, and you got and that's it. You look at the draw, or teams draw towards the back end, and I don't know how much you want that easy draw. You want some tough games, like you really do. So yeah, I think the Warriors should get the victory. And
then final game, not final game, we've got Saturday. The Bunnies against the Bulldogs, and this is pretty disrespectful to the Bulldogs. The Bunnies are $1.40 favourites, and they've got no Latrell Mitchell, no Cody Walker, no Damien Cook, no Cam Murray, no Kaloma Matangi. And the Bulldogs have got the side they've had with the addition of Toby Sexton coming in as well.
No Adakar.
No Adakar. That's true.
Yeah.
Who are you tipping, Jimmy?
Well, I'm tipping. Geez, these are the games you miss. So I used to love playing South.
Yeah. You versus Sammy Burgess.
I mean, yeah, it was good. It was good fun. Made you feel alive.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'm going to tip the Dogs. So.
Then Sunday afternoon, the Gold Coast Titans against the Dolphins. Massive game for the Gold Coast without their Origin players.
I know this one's a bit of a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah,
like I can't figure it out. I'm really perplexed on this. Like, I'm gonna say the Titans. No, I'm not. I want to change my mind.
You going the Dolphins?
Have the Dolphins got anyone in Origin? The Hammer?
The Hammer, yeah.
This is horrible. Is Mo Fodawaker playing Origin?
Let me double check. I believe he is. Can't see why he would have been dropped. No, he's in there. He's in Origin.
Nah, I'm going
Dolphins.
I'm going Dolphins.
Yeah, I've got this is my same game multi. I've got Dolphins to win, Jermaine Asako to score a try, Tessie New to score a try, and Brian Kelly to score a try.
What's that paying?
$17.62.
Wow.
So get amongst that. Probably will get up. Probably will get up.
The Oracle.
All right, let's finish this off then with the Rock-Buster. So it's a name involving toe. Aidan Tolman.
No, not current player.
Still get plenty of action. I haven't got it. I haven't got it in me.
Right, I'll give you the initials.
Yeah.
TS.
TS. Tyrrell Sloan? No.
No.
Trent.
I'll give you a clue. You were on the right.
Toby Sexton.
Yes! Do you know why?
Yeah, with toe. Toby Sexton. Like sex action. Getting some action. Getting sex.
Toe B.
Yeah.
This part of my foot has been stung by an animal.
Yeah,
toe B.
Yeah.
And then plenty of action. Sex. Ton.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
We're going to do that every week now.
Yeah.
I'll do one for you next week then.
All right. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
All right. How good.
How good, mate. All right. Well, that wraps us up for midweek matters, mate. We'll catch everyone next week.